Tonight, we have a lot on the agenda, public hearings. The first thing I'm going to do is ask the P&Z members to introduce themselves. We're somewhat short tonight. We have one open position that has not been filled, and we have two other members that are not able to be here tonight. So I'll start on my left, and please introduce yourself.
Cynthia Fortson.
Lee Mitchell, I'm the District 2 Commission Representative.
William Smith, District 4.
Linda Fortson, zoning administrator.
Tracy Patrick, future zoning administrator, when she retires in February.
So thank you all for being here tonight, and we will try to go through this the best that we can. Our first order of business this evening, I'm required to read a few statements regarding the zoning process tonight in the first public hearing. A second hearing before the Madison County Commissioners will be held at this location at 6 p.m. on January the 3rd. Attendance is not required at that hearing, but is encouraged in case questions come up that I may not be able to answer. As to the order of business tonight, I will be asking the zoning administrator to make her comments as to the zoning request. Then the applicant will come forward, state their name and address, and sign in, and state their reasons for the request. Next, the zoning commission will be asking questions to clarify their understanding of the issue related to the application. After that, I will allow public comment for or against the rezone or the amendment. All comments will be addressed to the commission and not to others in attendance. No personal attacks will be allowed. Note, the Planning and Zoning Commission is a recommending body only, consisting of concerned citizens who are appointed by the county commissioners. We are a fact-finding body that visits the property, review the information, consider public comments, and within the guidelines of the comprehensive plan and other land use ordinances, make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners. The final decision will be made on Monday, January the 3rd at 6 p.m. in this room by the Board of Commissioners. Now, are there any of this commission need to recuse themselves from any applications to be heard tonight? I see none. Now I'm going to ask our zoning administrator, Ms. Linda, to bring forth our first application.
Okay, our first application tonight is from Tim Seymour. He is representing the Dilworth family that own this piece of property. He's requesting to rezone 12.6 acres from business to R3 to allow 8 townhomes with 3 units each. The property is located at the corner of Highway 72 and Foote McClellan Road. He has met all the zoning requirements.
Mr. Seymour, are you present? Is there a representative present? Once again, Mr. Seymour, are you present or any representative for this rezone request present? If not, we will move on. What's our next request, Linda, please?
Okay, our next one, so I don't slaughter his name, Mr. Parks is requesting a conditional use to allow him to have a dog breeding kennel of approximately 25 breeding dogs. The property is located at 861 Hannah's Creek Church Road. This is a Royston address. He has met his zoning requirements.
Mr. Parks, are you present?
He is.
Would you please come forward, sign in, and tell us what you want us to know about your request?
You sign me?
Okay, he's already signed. Have you already signed in?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell us what you want us to know.
May I speak for him?
Yes,
Okay, my name is Min Kang.
Please come to the
come to the podium, please, sir. Speak this way.
I'm doing here, up on Mr. Park's requesting. Been knowing him more than decades long. He been struggling for living in state of Georgia, where he did many different small business, but not as much as a financial support himself. He failed it, sustained it, failed it again, but he found a very good location here, 861 Hannah Creek Church Road, about nearly 5 years ago. I've been breeding 15 years in a social circle, small town Georgia, close to I-20. I've been very successful. Okay, in America, pet industry, nearly pet is including birds and as small as guinea pigs, those things, anything you hold it for family, yourself, whatever you petting, but petting you call it pet. But mainly, generally, when you say pet means, nevertheless, as a common canine and the felines. So he chose canines. He found the location, as I say, 861, Hannah Creek Church Road in Royston. It's very quiet. It's not like a city zone. No industry over there. It's an agriculture zone. But he has any clue what to do, how to do, starting business. So he called me. Here's what I did. Okay. Just like what I did. Social circle, the agriculture zone. So upon initiating his business, he called on State Department. So State Department giving guidelines was not enough. He has to go to the place he belonged to over here. That's why we are here. So now he got about total 25 plus, and then probably a few of them, expecting to have a, baby soon. So far, no neighbor complains, and then no one have disturbing his business, but he got good neighbor. What's name? The neighbor, the old man not so
마살 훈련 마살 훈련
okay. I don't know exact name or not, Marshall.
William.
William,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Supposed to be here for hearing support, but eventually not show up. So he's deeply demanding, without any violation, he's been doing so far. He like it, so he like to end up his rest of life over here. So he loves this county and this city people who want to be permanent Madison County citizen. So I'm requesting for Mr. Chairman Scott and other board members here, joining commissioners here, but please deeply consider so he chose this Madison County for dog breeding for the rest of his life. So one more. Even nickel and dimes, it can be small bit. It can help economically helping. We become a friends, good neighbor, build up the good county here. And America is a pet industry, nearly $350 billion. State of Georgia, state only Georgia, not over $250 billion. Not including Coca-Cola, not city and not county, state Georgia. So pet industry, very gigantic business. So he liked initiating upon your approval. So anything he got code violation or nearly violation or something you can help him, ask him, well, don't be hesitating, yes, go ahead. Now I'm going to represent him, and translate him.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anything else you want us to know other than that at this moment?
Well, Mr. Scott, you told me in the beginning, first the address, after the name by name. January 6th, same time here. Attendance,
January the 3rd.
January the 3rd.
January the 3rd. You don't have to be here, but it is, we are requesting, if you can, to be here. Because they may ask me, I have to present this to the Board of Commissioners. They may ask me questions that I can't answer. And then you will be here to answer those questions. Plus, we don't have the final decision. We are a recommending board. And we will recommend to the commissioners either to grant your request or to deny your request. But first of all, tonight, we must hear from other citizens that live in your area that may want to speak. So, and once they are finished, you may come back if you have anything else in rebuttal.
Roger that.
All right?
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'm gonna close this part of the, I'm gonna ask, at this point, is there anybody here that wants to speak in approval of this rezone request? Is there anybody here that would like to speak in approval of this rezone request? Is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Okay, there is one neighbor that has sent an email, a letter to this board that he wanted to be read into the record in opposition. And I'm going to ask the commissioner in District 4 to please read that letter.
Okay, this is from Mr. Phil Smith at 727 Hannah Creek Church Road, Royston, Georgia. Members of the Planning and Zoning Board, I am the adjacent landowner to the subject property. I am writing in hopes my comments can be read to the record for the December 21st, 2021 Planning and Zoning hearing. I am out of state, plans have changed, I may not be able to speak in person. I respectfully request this conditional use permit request be denied. The existing kennel operation has had an incessant dog barking problem for years now. With the proposed expansion of the operation, the noise will get worse. I take a few moments each evening to sit near my front gate and quietly watch the sunset. It used to be quiet and peaceful. Now I have to listen to dogs barking neurotically. My privacy has been taken from me. I have a large covered porch and I sleep out there on it during the summer months. On calm nights, sounds carry very well over my hay fields. The neurotic barking noise wakes me up at night. It sometimes goes on for better than an hour. Owners are not quieting these dogs as they should. The real problem is the owner's disregard for peace and quiet in the middle of the night. I do not want to be bullied off my porch by this operation. The notice I received as an adjoining property owner states a kennel with 25 dogs for breeding. I presume this means 25 breeding females, not a total of 25 animals total at any given time. A production breeding operation likely keeps a litter on the ground for all females almost continuously. Supposing half the females have a litter and an average litter size of 6 pups, this puts us easily at 150 or better animals. With the unsupervised and undisciplined behavior already in place, the expectation is that at least some of these pups will learn the neurotic, incessant barking behavior, and the noise problem will get significantly worse. Further, what plans are in place to safely manage all the fecal matter that will be generated by this kennel expansion? Will the refuse be washed down the hillside, contaminating groundwater and surface water? For what purpose are these animals being bred? Will they be trained as working dogs, perhaps for cattle or sheep herding? Will they be personal pets? Or will they be destined for the meat dog market and therefore undisciplined and allowed to bark and howl without control? My concerns with the noise and the filth are very real. Even if promises are made to control them both during the first few months of the proposed expansion, how will the county enforce control in the coming years? As I stated before, I do not wish to be bullied indoors by the lack of respect for my privacy. I do not want to be fighting a battle over this for the next 20 years. I do not wish to have my property value degraded by this kind of operation on the adjacent parcel. With respects, I request this conditional use request be denied. Respectfully, Phil Smith.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Anybody else would like to speak in opposition?
May I edit?
Not at this moment. I will get back to you. I'm gonna close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. The board is now allowed to ask questions or discuss with the applicants, that they can answer any questions. Now, sir, you can come up and the board will ask you questions. Go ahead. You first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a couple questions. I guess, is this your drawing that was sent to us? This your drawing?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm wondering, the dog kennel you have that looks like it's pretty close to the front. The front, is it in front of your house? It's gonna be in front of your house, the kennel?
Yeah, just a little room,
Oh,
just a
okay.
nursing room.
Okay, and this says it's the litter room.
Yeah.
Now, the litter room is where the waste is going?
Okay. The small portable structure building is remain for to meet the customer over there. The large dogs, male and females, for breeding purpose, is behind the building. The front of the building is only smaller than 15 square footages. That's for the represent the puppies for the,
So that's
potential
what,
customer.
so is that what this is?
Yes,
Oh, that's to represent or show the
yes,
customers?
ma'am.
Okay, and then you have parking over here.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why this kennel, looking at your property, is there a reason why it can't be behind the house? Is there a reason it has to be close to the,
First thing is the security. Okay. The dogs, away from the traffic, away from the any movement, it is much safer than anything around the door. Second thing, the stranger or any other things, so they can get along, very well. Also, he's a dog owner, he can watch over the windows, he can watch within a foot reach, he can take care of those ones.
so you're saying the traffic will cause the dogs to be more active, barking?
It could be very, very possible.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's
Especially,
closer to the
fire,
highway.
truck, fire engines,
Yeah, well, that's why it's you got it closer to the street. That's why I was asking, is there a reason why it couldn't be
Okay,
behind?
Yeah, it's more than 100 feet. In the first kennel
Uh-huh.
and the, road entrance, more than 100 feet.
150.
He said 150 feet.
Yeah, my question was, how come it can't be moved behind the house? Is there a reason why it can't be behind the house? In back of the house?
Yes,
Back
all
here.
the kennels back of the house.
Oh, no, you have it pictured in front of the house.
I don't know why he
Oh, okay.
drew the wrongfully the diagram. It's pretty wrong. Maybe you can click it, Google Map, right now you can see it, satellite vision.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, that answers that question for you?
Also, 762,
So he already,
same street location, one person, opposed that.
Well, we're not gonna discuss that part of it right now. We're just trying to get our questions answered.
so you already have this kennel set up and operating.
Behind the residential building. Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Any other questions?
You have dogs currently on site
yes, all of them.
and have been out, you have 25 dogs on site already?
Yeah, already have.
Okay, so you've been operating a kennel, up until, I don't know how long, but you're currently operating a kennel.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so, how many potential dogs would you have at the location once they've,
Not including this time, upon board and this council members' approval, we're gonna remain the same number of that. If you were wrong, yeah, he can immediately remove kennels for the other safe area. He doesn't want to move over there.
I'm trying to get a feel, you say that there's 25 dogs that you'll have on site, but you're going to be breeding these dogs and having puppies and growing up those dogs, I guess, in order to sell them. So how many potential dogs would you have on site?
At any one time, how many dogs could you have on site?
Okay.
50,
You talk
25?
about each kennels or what? Total number of on site?
On the property?
On the property, so far he said 25, that's one. He has nearly 15 acre plus on the same address. My experience, other professional dog breeders' experience, he can have a lot more. Not a puppy mill. Puppy mill, 1 acre, maybe 400. But he got big dog, mainly retriever and similar to retriever. Those ones, kennel by kennel, 3 or 4 maximum, number of maximum each kennel. Cannot have a large number of dogs each kennel. That fight, in case of heating, it's gonna kill them. Just like so much crowded inmate. Plain experience. The females or males, when they got something wrong, he's gonna relocate the other calm area.
Okay.
That's how remaining they stay
Okay,
safely.
so do I understand you correctly that you shouldn't have more than 25 dogs on the property at any given time?
No,
Okay,
he's gonna have a lot more than double. Maybe person himself, he can do his maximum strength about 50. I used to have 200 dogs.
okay.
Yeah, I used to have 200 dogs.
So 50.
Nearly 5 years, I made $5 million cash in the pocket. That much canine industry is so much.
Okay,
I
so,
sold-
so-
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
You went off on a different direction. You know, we're not concerned about how much money you made or anything like that. Just answer this question. How many dogs are you gonna have, and what's gonna be out there that's gonna affect your neighbors? That's the question that we want to answer tonight.
okay. He said 25. 25.
That's breeding.
That's
Yes.
breeding,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Breeding for the
How many,
business.
how many do you currently have
25.
are there now? So we're not gonna increase the number of breeding animals that you have.
No more, he says no more.
What is the typical litter for these different, dogs? How many is a typical litter for
Okay,
each one
average
of
8
these?
to 10 or under 2 years old, good, healthy, strong, condition.
So do I understand that if we're saying there's 25 breedable dogs, then there could be 250 total if each one of those,
No, if it's not 25 females. Average, 17 females he got, rest of them male dogs.
Male, okay, so 17.
17
And then you
females.
said how many per litter can you possibly
Okay,
get?
as a very strong condition, good condition,
Uh-huh.
young female, fully grown, is 2 liters a year.
And that's about six puppies or something?
Okay,
Oh, 10?
sometimes 4, sometimes 1.
Oh,
As much as 14 dogs, 14 babies, my experience.
oh, okay.
Some of them have 17, some of history, not me. But average, very young, under 3 years old, young female, after 1.5 years, between 8 to 10. I don't know how many he got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask, according, oh, I'm sorry, what you doing? Okay, according to the information you're giving us right now, this is where the kennel, this is where the dogs are put, right, in the kennel. You have 25 dogs, how many, you say, it looks like you have 4 kennels here, 4, units for the dog?
No, I got that side, I made a 9 now, and 1, 2, 3, 4 more.
Instead of 4 more kennels,
All over
you
8.
don't see it on the diagram.
Oh, you got 4 more kennels on there.
On each kennel,
Yeah.
3 and 4 dog, right,
Okay, each of these kennels, you got 4 kennels on your land.
yeah,
Each kennel has about 4 dogs.
yeah,
Okay, so, and you have 17 females.
yeah.
So according to you, you can have almost 200 dogs per female. I mean, 200 dogs, 200 puppies, not per female, but,
200 그게
no, I'm saying if
It was
they
me,
all,
it was me,
No,
it
no,
never
no.
become a reality, it's totally different. Totally different.
okay, so I just want to know, where does the waste go? We'll answer one of those questions. Where does your waste go? For the dogs, how do you get?
Where does the waste go?
ground digger, ground, you dig up.
He said, all the
Oh, you bury it?
Yeah, everything, completely.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we've dug this quite long enough. Any other questions? Any other questions? As far as,
He's back there if you need to ask him.
I think we've plowed this ground quite long enough, so I think it's time to make a decision as to yes or no. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I'm gonna say, there's nobody else around. I mean, when I went out there, probably, not many people.
Now, is there any discussion as far as the board before we vote? Now's the time to.
Pardon?
We've all been out there, right? We've all looked at the property, we've all have a feel for the neighborhood. We all have a feel for what, type of area that we're after. And we've heard from these gentlemen, So at this point, I'm gonna bring it back to the board and entertain a vote for a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. The floor is now open. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we deny this request.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It has been moved and properly seconded that this request for Mr. Park for this conditional use to have a dog kennel at 861 Hannah Creek Church Road be denied. Ready to vote? Cynthia?
What about, discussion?
Yes, okay. Discussion?
I will mention this, I talked to Christopher today, I had a concern, I went out there, and I had a concern that if we're talking about 25 dogs plus puppies, the noise that would incur, I wanted to get a feel for that, but I asked Christopher about regulations over kennels, and he assured me that there are regulations, that it would be overseen by the state.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
The reason this got brought up to us, just to give you a background, is they were trying to get certified through the Georgia Department of Agriculture as part of their step-by-step process. For certification, they have to first clear all county requirements
Yes.
within us in the way that we're set up, so long as we give the conditional use at this point in time. There's one, I don't know, is it the size, the location on the property?
I think it was the size.
The size of the structure. Otherwise, we have no say-so in the septic system, therein, litter is not acceptable. In our county, there needs to be it's still waste, or septic waste. However, the inspection of the kennels would then fall entirely on the state, and we would no longer at this point in time be able to enforce or guarantee anything for our general populace the way the ordinance are set up right now. But there are state level guidelines for having a kennel. So it's been operating for some time without our knowledge.
So the conditional use is because, why is
He
it?
cannot become registered with the state.
Oh, that's what the use is.
And it is not in compliance with the county.
Out of compliance with the county. This is to get them in compliance.
This is to get him into compliance, and then after he comes into compliance, then the state steps in and evaluates. But at this point in time, the state cannot even come in and evaluate. They've already reached out to our office, wanting to see what we were doing, whether or not they would. And then after driving by, like I telling Mr. Lee, he's not currently in compliance, but because he's trying to make the effort, I didn't write him a citation, wait and see how the due process sets out before any further actions taken.
So, once, if disapproved or approved, would he have to remove the dog? Or he can continue to operate because he's been operating?
He is
Because
in
he's not
Then
in
they are in
compliance.
compliance,
Oh,
and then it would be found as a zoning ordinance
Oh,
violation. And then also as a county code also, as far as that goes. If approved, we would lose all ability over this structure. To safeguard it from expansion, from the solid waste, water, noise, various other aspects of it.
oh,
As far as the state regulations go, they are many. And it falls under the equine and companion animal department in particular. And I'll be happy to get y'all.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter unless you get past this process.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But if y'all did need reference for any of their information, we have.
I seconded the motion, because I'm still not sure of what the impact is going to be to the surrounding area with the number of dogs. I'm still not clear on how many dogs are going to be on site. Do you have a feel as to what? What are we talking about here?
From personal experience, only not on the professional or enforcement stage. I grew up with Tree Walker Coonhounds and having 3 breeding females and 2 studs. And they're similar sized dogs to what they're talking about that they have. And they do drop anywhere from 6 to 12, and then those rare instances of, oh my gosh, how did they come out? It's loud, I'll be honest with you, but our dogs were on 860 acres where nobody was anywhere near us, and I got blessed out by my mother enough to know not to have more than 2 or 3 for me on my property.
I just see a significant increase in noise.
Yes, sir. And when you do get to larger kennels, depending on the dog size, there are state regulations as to their housing that comes involved in how many hours they spend outside versus how many hours inside, similar to our own Madison County Animal Shelter. They do have outside and inside runs that can determine when they let it out. And so that would create a stronger infrastructure, more money invested in that we currently just don't have it on the books to safeguard ourselves.
Within our meeting tonight, the one thing that bothers me is that when we opened up for public comment, there was nobody here to speak for it.
Yes.
But we did have a scraping letter here of a neighbor that was against it.
Yes.
You know, so I have to take that in consideration when I look at this.
Yes. And our animal control would not have any say-so in it so long as the dogs are on the property and aren't getting off, they're not malicious towards neighbors. Animal control does not ascertain noise ordinance. They can call back on the code enforcement and then into our planning and zoning and county aspects of the very difficult, aspect y'all have before you because of where it's going to be enforced or looked at on our county level. The state will receive complaints as easily as we will. They're just a little slower to react than we are.
How long have you been out there?
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir, thank you, sir.
How long have you been out there?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Had discussion, we're ready to vote. Cynthia?
Well, I'm kind of torn because like he was saying, we don't have a clear understanding of the number of dogs. I mean, even though I see not much around there and we have a neighbor complaint, but we can't put any amendment or anything.
You mean conditions?
Condition?
Well, yeah,
Not an amendment,
well,
but a condition.
a condition.
No. We're at the voting process, is it yes
I
or
gotta
no?
go 25 and multiply it times 10.
Yeah, I gotta go, but, you know.
The motion is to deny. So you're saying no to the denial.
No, I'm saying,
You're saying yes to the denial. I'm a yes.
Yes.
It is a 4-0 vote to deny. Mr. Parks, this commission has voted 4-0 to deny. This will go before be presented to the Board of Commissioners on January the 3rd at 6 p.m. in this room. You're welcome to show up, and they will also have a public hearing, and you will be able to express why you want it and why you need it and why you think you should have it. You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to leave. Linda, what's our next?
You want me to go back to the first one since he's here?
Okay, yes, you can.
Okay, all right, we're going to go back to the first one. He came in just a few minutes late. Tim Seymour is representing, the Dilworth family. They're requesting to rezone the 12.6 acre property from business to R3, which is multifamily, to allow for, 8 townhomes with 3 units each. The property is located at the corner of Highway 72 and Foot McClellan Road, and they have met all the zoning requirements.
Mr. Seymour, would you please sign in, tell us your name, your address, and tell us about your rezone request?
Tim Seymour, 25 9th Street, Carlton is my primary residence. 12.5 acres, currently zoned commercial, corner of Foot McClellan and Highway 72. The plan would be one new road constructed with a cul-de-sac coming off of Foot McClellan Road that would divide into 8 acre-and-a-half lots. Each lot would be a triplex, 2-story townhome consisting of 2 and 3 bedroom units. These are not low-end rental. These are really nice, custom-built, stick-built features such as custom cabinets, granite countertops, hardy plank siding with a mix of stone and brick. They do have a lot of upgraded features. These are not typical rental units. These are nice upgraded units. So a total of 8 2-story triplex townhomes.
Okay, anything else?
That's pretty much what we're looking at.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here that wants to speak in support of this rezone request? Anybody here wants to speak in support of this rezone request?
Did all of you get the pictures?
Is anybody here wants to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Anybody here wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the Board of Commissioners to ask any questions that you may have of Mr. Seymour.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Obviously, you'll be on county water. Sewer, I know there's no sewer in that area. What do you have plans for sewage?
You're gonna have to do septic systems. It'll be private septic tanks.
So would there be one for each unit or one for each building? Do you know?
It is my understanding that there's a county requirement to have one for each unit. However, these are not condo units. These are, these 3 units are, could only be sold in one building. They could never be condoed. It would be nice, and I will tell you this, most all of our surrounding counties do allow you to do a large septic system for one building with the 3 units like that. It's my understanding that there is a rule in Madison County that each individual unit has to have its own system.
Is that a health department thing?
Yes.
So you are saying that that's no problem with you all because that is a requirement?
If just whatever the requirement is just what we'll have to do, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be nice to put one large system in for each one, but if we can't do that, we just can't do it. You know.
I wanted to ask you, okay, your drive, are the streets gonna come off Footy McClellan, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
McClellan? Okay. Now, I'm familiar with your Comer, that's you down there in Comer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you gonna have any shrubbery or anything that buffers that 72, or is it all gonna, because I know you kind of cut down all the trees.
Yes,
So
yeah.
are you gonna have any buffering?
Comer was a much tighter area, that was only 4 acres as opposed, and those are very tight lots, you know, Comer's on sewer, so those had to be really tight lots down there. Comer, I've got 30 units on 4 acres there, this will be 24 units on 12 and a half acres. So what we plan to do is leave as many mature trees as we can, especially across 72, because I want to block some of the road noise from these units. All of the trees on this property are very mature trees. So the plan is to leave as many trees as possible along 72, and there will definitely be trees between these units, because, you know, keep in mind, this is just one building on an 1.5 acre lot, so there's plenty of room to leave trees. The plan for tree removal will be as needed for the road, the building, and front yard and septic system. Any of the surrounding trees, there is a neighborhood behind this property. We would leave every tree possible as a buffer between the neighborhood and this property. These units will be pulled up as close to that new road as the backset requirements will allow. So there will be large, very large backyards. These buildings will face the new road going in, so each backyard will be very large.
Okay, so as you're coming down 72, I won't see the buildings, I'll see the buffering of the trees.
I don't think you'll really see the buildings coming down 72, because we're gonna pull them up as close as we can to the road, and there will be a lot of trees left on 72.
And as this drawing shows, this is a cul-de-sac type.
Yes, sir, just straight into a cul-de-sac, that's right.
Do you anticipate how much parking will be available for each unit?
There'll be a minimum of 2 parking spaces, so there'll be a minimum of 6 parking spaces in front of each unit, a minimum of 6. And that's what we did in Comer. Now, it is likely that we will do more than that, but I think by code, I have to do 6, I have to do a total of 6 per building, 2 per unit is what's required. I'm sure we're gonna have a little bigger parking pads than that, you know, so that people aren't parking on the street. We've squeezed in the project we're finishing up in Comer, we squeezed in some extra parking, but as a minimum, it is 2 per unit.
2 per unit, okay. Any other questions?
And that is true whether it's a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, they're still,
That's right.
okay.
That's right.
Will there be any type of covenants? I mean, because realistically, in the real world, you got a 3-bedroom, husband, wife, and gonna be some children possibly, and those type of things with drivers to be able to make sure, you know, you kind of keep it where there's not cars parked on the road and doing those type of things.
Absolutely. We do have a list of rules that have to be abided by. So, yeah, we won't allow any on-street parking. There won't be any on-street parking. Absolutely, we do stick by the rules, and you know, as these units lease, they're given a copy of those, and they're made aware of anything. There's no recorded covenants, but there are tenant leasing rules that apply to everybody that lives there that we personally have to enforce.
Okay, and then you're gonna self-manage these properties then, so it would be your.
We do. There's no plan to sell, it would be self-managed.
So you're the manager?
My wife does.
Oh, so you manage the manicure and all that?
Yes, ma'am, we manage all of the upkeep, the maintenance. I own a construction company, and so we do our own maintenance and upkeep. But basically, I build and my wife manages them.
Well, my question, I guess, is you probably have no intentions of ever selling to manage, but if you did, you know, you will not have multiple owners per unit, or you would sell the entire unit to an individual to lease out. Or, understand what I'm saying? You won't sell this apartment, that apartment, that apartment.
Absolutely
It have to
not.
be one building.
No, these will, I have, that won't happen, but this development will, what will happen is it goes into a family trust, and it'll be owned by a family trust. So, but no, there's no way to just sell, one unit. No, there's no way to do that.
Other question? There is no interest to 72, everything will come out on Football Club.
That's exactly right. Main entrance on Football Club.
And for what it's worth, if we're looking at the current land use map, that property is, coded as high-density residential.
You have questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
There was nobody in favor of or against.
All right, at this point, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commissioners for a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
I move that we approve this request.
I'll second.
Moved by Lee to approve, second by Cynthia. Any questions, comments? If not, you're ready to vote. Yes.
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 Been approved, 4-0 to approve. Again, we are a recommending body, so it will go before the Board of Commissioners on January 3rd. They will have the final say. All right, Linda, moving on to the next one.
Our next applicant is Clint Larkin. He is representing his company, High Point Bailey. He is requesting to rezone 2 parcels that are contiguous. The first one is on map 45, parcel 174, and is 13.93 acres, currently zoned A1. The second parcel is on map 45, parcel 181, that is 8.15 acres, currently zoned A1. He would like to rezone these properties to R1 to combine for a major subdivision of 13 lots. He has met the zoning requirements.
All right, sir, Mr. Larkin,
Sir,
have you signed in?
yes, sir, signed it.
Okay, thank you very much. Please tell us what you want us to know.
Yes, sir, Clint Larkin, 2199 Holly Creek Church Road, Arlington, Georgia. So basically, I had, some land that I came across that we wanted to develop, and, a real estate agent in the area said that this area was a good area that needed some things. And so we looked at a bunch of different properties. This one was kind of, I wanted to do a small one because I'm more into large commercial development. And she asked me to come help, and we used to do a lot of houses. So we're doing a new concept of houses that are, instead of stick built, it's all built out of metal studs, not a barn door. It ain't nothing like a barn door. If you look at the house and the pictures that I sent to Linda, and they look, you can't tell a difference. It's just a stronger, well-built house. They're gonna be from 450 to 700, somewhere in there in that range, so a pretty nice home on an acre and a half, plus on some of the lots. A lot of, the land was already cleared when I bought it, so therefore, we're gonna plant back some trees and things of that nature, and it's a cul-de-sac, so it comes in one lane and it goes right back out on Stratton Lane. So, the houses will be hardy plain brick, once again, all nice custom cabinets, and these are more like the custom homes that you would typically find in Stratton Mill subdivision or like that neighborhood. So 2,500, 3,500, 4,000 square feet, really cool, type home.
Anything else, sir?
I mean, that's pretty much the subdivision is 13 houses, so, that's, yes.
All right. We'll, open the floor up for public comment and then we'll come back. Is there anybody here that wants to speak, in approval of this subdivision or this request? Anybody here wants to speak in approval? Not, is there anybody here who wants to speak in opposition? Please come forward, give us your name and tell us what you want us to know.
Yes, sir. I don't know that I'm saying it's opposition, but it's a concern.
Sure.
My name's Jody Wilden, I live at 1222 Spratman Mill Road. I'm right across the street from that property. I have 8 acres, it's completely wooded, floodplain. The creek backs that property and backs the property he's talking about. Spider Creek, which goes under Spratman Mill. If you're familiar with the area, it's a very sharp curve coming around there. I've lived there, my wife and I lived there for 22 years, where there's 4 houses back my road, but my driveway is well up from where he's talking about putting the driveway. When I first heard about the property coming, I have no issues with it. I'm excited about, the houses, sounds great, what he's talking about building. And I was sure that the interest was gonna come on McCann and Morris Road. And then when I called the zoning department, they said, no, it's Spratman Mill. So I got a copy of it and looked, and it's a couple hundred feet from that extremely sharp curve that the speed limit is 45 miles an hour, but no one goes 45 miles an hour. 55 to 60, coming around on 2 wheels, high rates of speed. That I have mowed both sides of the road for 20 years. Can't do it during the week, have to do it on the weekends because you take a chance going out there. They're coming down that hill, like coming from Mr. Hart's land, coming from 72, and they're going down a grade, and then they're going around this extremely sharp curve, and then you're talking about a entrance and exit of potentially, 30 vehicles coming in and out of there? It's a nightmare waiting to happen. I mean, Mr. House, an older gentleman, had a trailer right next to that driveway years ago. He had 1 car coming in and out of there. And he had to gun it when he came out of that property. And mine's up a little further, and if I pull out of mine and start heading either direction, within minutes, someone's on my tail. So my concern is, I think the entrance should be on McCann and Morris Road. I understand why it wants to be on Spratman Mill Road, because people want to live on Spratman Mill Road, but I just foresee a safety hazard with someone getting seriously hurt or killed trying to pull out of there with that additional traffic, with that curve coming around. The time, if you're running 45 miles an hour, once you cross my creek to about where he's talking about, it's about 4 seconds if you're running the speed limit. If you're going any faster than that, it's a couple seconds. And there's nowhere to go. I mean, my property is completely treed. There's always accidents around that curve. One a few weeks ago, someone ran off the road and hit a tree. So you're either going over to the ditch to the right side of that property he's developing, or you're hitting trees to mine. So I think it's a bad idea for the entrance. That's my only concern about it.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else want to speak in opposition? Anyone else want to speak in opposition? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board for that consideration for approval, denial, comments, or whatever as far as the subdivision.
Can you ask him a question?
Sure, I'm going back.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, go-
I thought we were about to vote.
No, I'm going back there.
There is a decel lane coming in there, so there's not gonna be turning straight off Spratman Mill, there'll be an actual decel lane. We'll met with GDOT on the entrance coming in there. We're gonna bring a decel lane in, so they can pull off the side of the road to turn into the neighborhood. So it's not gonna be an abrupt stop turn like you think it will be, so, to answer that question. Sorry.
That's another thing. I understand the diesel lane coming in, what about coming out?
But once again, they'll have plenty of, being able to look right and left. I've pulled in and out of that place many times with my truck, and I have plenty of opportunities on. I haven't lived there 20 years, I agree, but at the the same time, with GDOT and everybody I met over there, there's plenty of, time to react, to slow down. About 4 seconds, 45, doesn't sound accurate to me. But, I mean, when I met with GDOT, they didn't have a problem with me putting in a decel lane, and people coming in and out of that. Because, I mean, 13 houses might be, he said 30, could be 20 cars. I mean, these are not, typical starter homes. This is a higher end home, so, most of the time it's gonna be an older couple. I would assume, and what I've been told and what the market looks like from real estate, so.
To ask you a question
Yes, sir.
about that, is there any reason that you don't wanna go out on
Actually, it's
the other road?
school districts, because Culver School District is pretty full, and Hull, on the Hull side, they have some that was still left there. That's what actually brought to me for the county on this side. I mean, that was more of my decision, just saying Spratly Mill, but at the same time, going out through the back way, I had 13 houses back in the Culver side and not into the Hull side. So the reason we went to is the Hull side, and it's closer to Athens, so that's more appealing for real estate.
Okay. Excuse me, I'm trying to understand that.
Yes, sir.
I can understand the school district and all that, but I'm just talking about exit, and why can't you have an exit on both ends?
Well, I could
One
go all the
on
way
Scott
through.
McCollum and one on the other side.
That was actually, I talked with Alan from the road department, and this was not even considered, because then it would become a cut-through road. And then you would pose a hazard to people that lived in the subdivision. So neither one of us recommended doing that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Mine is about, I guess, runoff and all that. 'Cause
Yes, ma'am.
I guess when I went out there and looked, it was like a rough terrain
It's just been graded.
in that front.
Yes, ma'am.
So how is your, sewer, or how's that runoff or anything? How-
Everything, it'll have detention ponds in there, it'll have curbs and gutters and everything in the street. So all that will be called and captured into the stormwater. As far as the perk test, the whole site's been perked and tested, so everything perks that where we would be building homes. There's not an issue with the field or other, I'm in a flood zone or anything like that. We've already established that we're outside of where the field would be, where the field lines would be, but we would have county water.
Oh, because it looks like it says 100-year flood zone.
That one line at the bottom, that's just, it's in the property,
Right.
you know what I mean, but it wouldn't be where there's any sewer or stormwater and the houses would be vegetated, so.
So that front train,
Mhm.
you're gonna grade all that?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, because when I went
No,
out.
it all has to be graded.
Oh,
They just clear cut it and grubbed it and cleared all the roots and stumps up, is all they've done. And now I bought it after they done that, so I didn't even have anything to do with it.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna fill all that in?
Yes, ma'am, it'll get graded out with the road and the lots.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. Bring back to the board for a vote to accept or deny.
Motion to approve.
Been moved and properly second that we approve this rezone request. Linda, is there anything that we need to do because there's two of them? Or is it-
No, they can be took up together because one is contingent upon the other.
Okay. All right. We'll bring it back for a vote. We have a motion and a second for approval. We're ready to vote. I believe it's on Lee.
Yes.
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 Yes. 4-0 to approve. Again, this will go before the commissioners on January 3rd, 6 p.m. right here. You don't have to be here, but we request that you come if you can, because there may be questions I can't answer.
Yes, sir.
Linda?
Excuse me. Our next one is Rhonda Black. She's representing her mother, Miss Roberta Dove. She would like to rezone, a little over 2 acres of her 30.47 acre property. On this 2 acres, Ms. Dove's son, lives on that 2 acres, and she would like to cut off this 2 acres surrounding his home, to give to him. The property is currently zoned A1, and this 2 acres would go to RR. They have met all the zoning requirements.
Yes, ma'am, please tell us who you are and what you want us to know about this rezone request.
I'm Rhonda Black. I live at 1647 Garnet Ward Road, but my mom is reverted up. She lives at 4140 Highway 29 North. She just wanted to give my brother the land that he has been on for quite some time. She's 94 years old, and she's just worried what will happen if something happens to her, you know, before she doesn't want the property to get sold out from under him. She wants to make sure he keeps his home place, and he's the one that has been there helping her more than anybody, because he's right below her. So she just wanted to make sure he had this property free and clear, that it couldn't be sold out from under him, you know, when the property was sold on her death. So that's, we had it, surveyed, and the guy that surveyed it was not from Madison County, and he did not tell us that we had to have 5 acres or had to be rezoned. So rather than have to have it surveyed again, we were just requesting just to rezone that particular parcel, and it, not to affect the rest of it, just that 1 2-acre parcel.
All right,
There would have to be an easement for his driveway, because his driveway actually cuts across the other property.
so I'm gonna have this question, but the easement will be your mother's.
Yes, it's still my mother's property, yes.
Just how it looks now, what you see now.
Anything else?
I didn't think so.
Thank you so much. All right, is there anybody here that wants to speak in opposition? Anybody here wants to speak in opposition? Anybody here that wants to speak in approval of it? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or discussions that you may have.
I have one question. The easement, is it absolutely, could potentially do away with an easement, and since there is road frontage, is it possible to access directly onto the road, or do you really need the easement?
It's possible, it's just in a really bad curve. It would be a really bad place to put a driveway. I mean, you know, cause it's that sharp curve coming around on 29, and there's been multiple wrecks there already, you know, even without a driveway there. It's just the danger, you know, of it. And it could actually cut out a little further down eventually, you know, if he chose to, but, and the thinking is that it will stay in the family anyway, in one form or another, even if one person buys everybody else out. There's 7 of us, so, you know, it's, that's the problem, is we wanna make sure that he gets to keep his property, you know.
So we'll just keep that dirt road that goes up there?
Yeah, it's just a dirt drive, yeah, it's just a dirt drive, yeah.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Open the floor up for a motion. I'll second that motion. Been moved by Cynthia and second by Canola Scott to approve this request. Ready to vote?
Yes.
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 4-0 to approve. Again, January 3rd, right here. 6 o'clock. All right, Linda, next.
Okay, our next request is Logan Waters. He's representing is it Axton?
Accitan.
Okay, thank you. I'm never gonna get it right. They're requesting a variance on a new building to allow, the existing height to exceed the 35-foot minimum. The property is located in, Matico Industrial Park. and they have met all the zoning requirements.
Please come forward and tell us about what you're planning and what you want us to know about this rezone request.
Sure. It's Logan Waters, 22 Barnett Shoals Road, Watkinsville. I'm working for the civil engineering firm that's representing Axtan for this. There's an existing facility, and they're looking to do an expansion onto the back to really upsize their operation. And due to the industrial processes that are going on inside the building and the equipment having to be housed internally, we are requesting a variance to the 35-foot maximum height. Occasionally there will be personnel required to be at higher levels for testing. We actually have a representative here from Axtan who, if you have anything too specific about the process, he can hopefully answer for you. But other than that, it's straightforward. It is an existing facility, and they're looking to expand and really the operation. If you got any other questions, I can answer.
All right, like I said, we're gonna open the public hearing and let anybody speak that might want to, then we'll bring it back. Is there anybody here who wants to speak in approval of this rezone request? Anybody here wants to speak in approval? Anybody here wants to speak in opposition? Anybody here wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to this board for any questions that they may have.
Oh, so inside this building, you said you're gonna store, is it feed?
Yes.
Okay, so I see there's a water tower out there.
Yes, so that's the nice county water tower.
Yeah, I know, so you're going higher than that, or? is it
I'm
about the
not
same?
exactly sure what the height is, but I don't believe it will be as high as that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
My understanding, as far as the ordinance is concerned, is the 35 feet was put in there purely because of fire, back when that was put in. Of course, now we have different equipment and we're able to handle that kind of stuff, so, my question was, it says a new building, but it's actually an existing building.
There's a smaller existing building on the front, and so now they've been testing this operation, now they're gonna upsize it, and that's where the expansion comes in. So it's gonna be, I believe, an 18,000 square foot building on that parcel, and it'll have to be a little bit taller to house the internal equipment.
Now, this has nothing to do with the building itself, but how much expansion of employees will that bring in?
So I think the representative can confirm, but around 25.
Yeah, 20-25 more people.
So it's gonna be made of the same materials as the other building?
Yes.
So because it's storing just feed, right?
I mean, do you want to give us an overview?
Yeah, it's just part of the process equipment. It's like an algae. It's just a powder.
So
Feed
is
out.
there any installation or any certain, inside the building, does it have to be any kind of certain material inside the building? Or is it going in what you're saying, the algae, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Come on up, sir, if you would, please. And just tell us a little bit about the process, and maybe we'll understand.
Yeah,
My name's Tommy Hammond.
Yes.
320 Church Street in Athens,
Okay.
Georgia. But yeah, the process is pretty simple. We basically grow a microalgae in large fermenter water tanks. Relatively simple. Our end product's like a dried powder that will be added to the feed processes for chicken.
so the water tower is going inside the building?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
what you're saying,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, and then the algae or the whatever they're processing is?
Yes, ma'am. It is in the tank itself.
So do you have to have a certain certain type of material that
The tanks themselves will be stainless steel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the building itself is gonna be just like the rest of
Just
the
a
buildings out
regular
there?
steel building.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions?
The only concern, have you been in contact with the local fire department there as far as firefighting capabilities for a 70-foot
We have not.
building?
No, the building's being consulted by a large company, and so all the different fire hydrants will be installed in the building itself too.
I would think that your insurance company would want to know you have adequate firefighting.
I'd imagine so,
capabilities.
yeah.
I would think so.
So I just wondered if you had been in contact with whoever covers that area.
I personally have not, but I'm sure someone has or will be.
I just let's like to say thank you for your hospitality and the tour.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I got one too.
Any of y'all are welcome to come see what's going on anytime.
Yeah, they were like little boys. They enjoyed that.
Well, I'm glad, I'm glad.
That's a compliment, right?
It is a compliment.
Okay.
Yes, like, you got my attention.
Any other questions?
So this has nothing to do with UGA, right?
Nothing to do with you,
No.
yeah.
They're all experimenting.
Yeah. Something similar, but
Okay.
I'm glad.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you all.
Appreciate the information. All right, at this point, we'll bring it back to the board and entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the request.
No second.
We moved and properly second that we approve this rezone request. Any additional questions? If not, we'll entertain a vote.
Yes.
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 4-0 to approve. Again, January 3rd, 6 o'clock, right here.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Next, Linda?
Okay, our next one, even though they're by the same person, they're not, contingent upon each other. He has brought me 3 packets. These are the type of homes that will be, built on these parcels. And he can give you detail about that when he comes up. These, you'll probably want, do you wanna take these up as one vote or 2 votes?
Can we take a vote as one?
You can?
Let's do it.
Okay, all right. This is Daniel Hardigree. He is representing his company, Triple M Landing Holdings. He is requesting to rezone his 9.3 acre parcel from A1 to RR to subdivide into 4 parcels. His second piece of property that it adjoins this piece is 5.88 acres, and it's currently zoned A1. He would like to rezone it to RR and be able to subdivide into 3 parcels. This is the one where I said he would take just a little bit off of the adjoining one to make the 3 lots work. He has met all his zoning requirements on the 2 requests.
All right, sir. Mr. Hardigree,
Yes, sir.
you please, give us, just got your name, but your address and what you want us to know about this rezoning.
I live at 7303 East Commerce Road, Hull, Georgia, born and raised in Madison, Kennels. The reason I wanted to request RR here is because there's multiple parcels adjoining the land that is RR currently. So I felt like that would be a good highest and best use for it. There is an old home on the property, needs about probably $50,000 to $60,000 worth of restoration to it. I also plan on bringing that house back to life and redoing it, as I'm in the process of building some new homes over there, if we can get this approved. I would like to build some nicer homes, which I provided in the pictures. Generally, I build a 1,800 to a 26 or 700 square foot house. I try to keep price ranges anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000. Depends on what it is, how much land with it. I have some current products if anybody would like to go look at them. Over on West of Chapel Road right now, I'm building 4 homes concurrently over there. On that, they're all 2,500 square feet, but that puts the price point up close to $400,000. So I would like to do a couple of those over here and probably some maybe 1,800, maybe a 2,000 square foot on this property. We have nice finish work that we put in, and we do nice landscaping, side yards. So about all I got. And then on to get to the back on the larger parcel, the plan I proposed was a private driveway, which is what Mr. Terry done over on Witzel Road. Couldn't think of the name of it the other day when I got a phone call. Witzel Road, It was done several years ago. He divided up a parcel of land 4 times. He put a private driveway in. It was graded out to spec and everything. And then it has a road maintenance agreement for those people who live on that driveway. And also they have an undivided interest in the ownership and the tax bill on that driveway. And it worked out really well. Matter of fact, I helped sell some of those lots back then and helped a couple people with those buildings over there. That's all I have.
All right. We will close, we'll go to the public hearing now. And if there's anybody who wants to speak in approval of this rezone request. Anybody want to speak in approval? Nobody? Anybody want to speak in opposition? Please, come forward. And state your name.
One at a time, all of us.
One at a time.
Alright.
One at a time, please. State your name and your opposition.
Thank you for the time. My name's Neil Miller. I live at 11734 Wildcat Bridge Road, which is joining 5.88 acres that's trying to be divided up into 3 lots. At first, the letter I got in the mail said it was gonna be potentially 7 homes built on here, 7 lots. And what I just heard, that he's gonna spend $50,000 to $60,000, and now that makes 8 homes on this lot, these lots, is that correct?
No, sir. That one is gonna be one.
One of the 7.
That'll be one of the 7. I'm gonna bring it back to life. And then, can you show him the drawing so he knows what we're talking about here for the 3 homes? So that way he can understand that 5 acres.
I won't copy that, dude.
Well, I need that back.
Can I point something out so he understands what I'm talking about here? So here, this is actually gonna be a line straight down the center here. Okay, so it'll be 1 lot, 2 lots. This I'm gonna take away from back here, and the house will actually sit out here. It won't be in the woods back here. It'll be sitting out in the field.
So these are gonna be 2 lots.
Yes, just a line straight up the center out there. And this house will only be over here touching.
So,
So 1 house here, 1 house here, just like that. That way you get a better understanding of what it is. They're not gonna be all stacked right here on top of it. These are actually the spots where I wanna build the nicer homes that fronts the road right there, of what I'm building on Wesley Chapel Road. So that way you get a better understanding.
All right. Okay, continue.
My concern is, I'm 42 years old, I've lived there 34 years of my life. I'm in the water well business for 20 years. So my concern is there's no county water on this road, there's no county sewage, which means every home will have to have a well. Every home will have to have a septic tank. I'm concerned on what that's gonna do to the water table in the area. And personally, that field there beside my house, I'm sure y'all been out there and looked at it from years and years growing up there. Y'all may know, may not. Half of that field stays flooded. When it rains, you get a 1/2 inch rain, it's flooded. And I'm sure Mr. Wayne Summers can state that because he cuts hay off of it the entire time I lived there. So that's the main concern I have with it. And I guess I'll leave it to somebody else now.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Next.
My name's Travis Allen. I live in 2328 Highway 29 North. My 6 acres adjoins probably 3/4 of this. One thing is gonna be, they say they're gonna build this quality of house. They gonna do this, they gonna do that. Who's gonna live there? It don't matter. They can't decide that. Who knows what you gonna have living beside you? All these houses that surround this property have been there for, I'm gonna say at least 30 years or better. Cause I'm 46 and I grew up right there. All these houses have always been right there. So now you're gonna basically airdrop 7 houses in. What if it was where you lived at? How would you feel about it? I mean, any answers? You know, as far as your well, your septic, your kids, your way of life, everything disrupted. On account of what? $1.
Well,
We don't mind that they're gonna build some houses back there. That doesn't bother me. When you give them, 150 foot by 500 foot or whatever, that's a subdivision. Who wants a subdivision in their backyard? Do y'all? I mean, it's gonna cost you money. He's making money. He's gonna make, what, $700,000? And then he's going home to his house. What if I airdrop 7 houses in his backyard? You know where he's gonna be standing at? He's gonna be sitting right here opposing it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, me, Neil, Wayne, Britt, my daddy, Talmadge Bridges, Don. If you look at the overlay of it, it's all been there for this many years. And even Mr. Billy, where his house is, he's talking about $50,000 to $60,000. Huh. If you went over and looked at it, when my dogs got loose, they wouldn't stay in there. You know what I'm saying? And like Neil said, his youngin' got the truck stuck out there. And a half-inch of rain. It floods, it carries on, it's a mess. And gonna get even worse.
All right, ma'am?
Yeah, both of our tracts of land butt up to both of these properties, and when we first saw it, you know, I don't mind somebody buying that property and building houses there. I feel like 7 tracts of land back there is excessive. I think at least needs to be 5 acres. We have, ours divided into 2 tracts, but we actually only have 1 house on our 6 acres. So, like you said, the people that have been there, we can't see each other out our back door. We can see the ribbons now out our back door. Literally, I could throw a ball to where the ribbons are now. So we've enjoyed that quality of life of having that privacy, and we don't want to see 7 houses there. We would understand it if it was 3 going on that track, but not 7. 7 is a neighborhood. And it's kind of narrow, so I'm concerned, I'm like, how are they gonna get the driveway back there? I mean, is the driveway gonna be in my backyard for all that traffic now? I mean, that's just not what we intended when we built our forever home.
And just a question, can you build on the pipeline?
Yeah, the pipeline runs right through there. Our property runs up to the pipeline, so that's gotta be taken into consideration also.
That's a question that Belinda would have to answer.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure she.
No, you cannot build, there is a setback that he would have to put.
So it just butts it much more further toward.
Yeah, so that's just gonna bunch it up to the front, and then gonna bunch it even more. And just like where it's up his mouth, he's gonna build the nice houses on the road front. What's he gonna build back up beside my house? In the woods where I live.
I mean, we live in a double wide, we're not
Yeah,
trying,
I know.
I mean, they may not want us as neighbors once they see that they're gonna be looking at a double wide trailer, when they're buying a $400,000 home, so.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter, and we just.
Right,
we
well,
just
we're in
wanna
a
deal
pose,
with
and we
your
feel like
opposition.
that's excessive, 7 houses is excessive for that area,
Yeah.
and that's all it needs.
All right, thank you.
Watch this.
Anyone else in opposition? Anyone else in opposition? Please come up, state your name, and tell us your opposition.
My name is Lee Adams, I'm the father of Travis Adams. And the thing about it is, like they talking about that water sitting up there, the surface water is real close to the ground right there. I have springs in the backyard right there. And if you go dumping a bunch of septic tank systems into that water system, you're gonna come up with bacteria, strep, and all that kind of stuff goes with it. In my well, they went down 37 feet, and I've got 25 foot of water in that well. They couldn't go no deeper. So that's telling you the underground system's all running together right there. So we might have that looked into. But I live right beside my son, so my property comes up pretty close to it, you know. But I don't like to see a big group of houses coming in and with the water system like it is and everything else goes on with it. So I'm opposed.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Yes, I'm a friend of the family. I grew up there my whole life. My name is Brandon Sexton. I live off 88 Dry Creek Road, Cockatoo Road. I've lived there my whole life. I just don't want to see a bunch of subdivisions start coming in, because once one comes in, there's gonna be more. And they're gonna allow more and more and more. And my kids are not gonna have the opportunity to grow up like I did. And I just don't wanna see that. Like I said, I'm not opposed to them building a few homes, just sell them, to the subdivision to me. In one place. And I've run that whole stretch of land my whole life. And I just don't wanna see that destroyed by moving people in we don't know, and I even moved that property myself. I just don't see no sense in them being able to come in there and put 7 houses, and that's an awful lot. I mean, Madison County's been known for having, you gotta have 5 acres to build a house. I don't want to see it. Now I vote.
All right. Thank you.
Can I say one other thing?
Anyone else? Give everybody else an opportunity to speak, please.
I'm Sylvia Lowe, and I live at 11449 Wildcat Ridge Road, and I live across from the property. But my question is, I'm concerned about the water levels and whatever there, but how many driveways onto 281 will this incur? How many driveways has it been studied by the DOT and given permission for the driveways and whatever to come on? Cause we have a lot of traffic on 281. And to get in from from 281 into 29, it's getting really, really congested. And so, I'm concerned about the traffic as well as, if you put a $400,000 house next to my $200,000 house, what my taxes, how's it gonna impact my taxes? And is it just gonna run us out? Cause, my taxes right now, I struggle to come up with it every year, so, everybody needs a place to live, I'm not saying that, and I like progress and stuff, but too much is too much. And so, that's my fear, that we, like they said, one starts and where will it stop? In agriculture, without the farmers, we don't eat. And so I'm just very, very concerned that we keep giving these little parcels away, and then the bigger parcels have to sell out to pay the taxes, or have to sell it because they can't afford the taxes. And so where are we gonna go for our butter beans? So if y'all would take into consideration the big picture, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else?
My name's Will Cochran. I live on 476 Old Royston Road. My property does not actually touch this property, but as the crow flies, it's probably a quarter of a mile. I can't talk tonight, I'm sorry. I grew up on a farm. I still live in the same farm. I was brought home from hospital. This agriculture. And agriculture is what drives this country. And I'd like to see everything stay south of 98. If you look towards Hickory Hill subdivision, it was divided up into 10-acre lots. And since it's been there, it's been nothing but trouble for us. People coming in, one year we lost 9 Holstein heifers being shot. Just wild folks going around crazy. And I'd like to see that this side of 98 stays farming. Because farming and subdivisions, they don't get along. Thank you.
All right. So you have one last comment? Is there anybody else?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, I'm Britt Summers. I live on my dad's property, Wayne Summers, at 294 Old Royston Road. I am opposed to this. 7 houses on this amount of land is not right by me. I feel like I speak for my dad. What I've always understood is 5 acres per house. And this is agricultural land, so I feel like it needs to stay that way. And I'm opposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. Just so you'll understand, it's not 5 acres in all situations.
Okay.
It can be an acre and a half, you know, not saying that's right or wrong, just telling you what the rules say. So you had one last comment?
Yes, on the septic system, when I did have to put mine in, we did have to, go a long ways from the house for the dirt to purge. And you ended up having to put, basically, instead of a $3,000 septic tank system, you had to put close to a $6,000 septic system. You have to pump your waste uphill. You familiar with what I'm talking about?
Just the soil quality for septic systems in that area is not great, so.
Everything will have to meet requirements now too, you know, of the state, obviously.
Well, we know that, but.
Please, hold on just, what we have to determine is this appropriate to put that down there? If it costs him $3,000 to put in a septic tank or $10,000 to put in a septic tank, that's on him. So, you know, that's not our decision to make it.
Right, I'm just
Our
saying.
decision is to make is to, if it's appropriate to go there.
Okay.
So at this point, I wanna bring it back to the commission for questions for the applicant, so that he may answer some of the questions that you have brought up and some of the questions that we may have.
You ready?
Okay? Yes, sir.
All right.
Now, I'll ask the first question, I guess. You're talking about you're asking for a private drive. And that private drive will take care of all 7 homes?
The private drive will take care of 3 houses.
Take care of 3 houses?
3 houses.
Do you mind showing us on this? That was something definitely, I think all of us have had a lot of,
Concerned about.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I just wanna make sure.
so you come in right here, you got a field area right there.
Mhm.
Just come straight back, and you get the driveway here, driveway there, just go into that driveway.
So this parcel number 1 there already has an existing drive, so you're gonna maintain that. All right, for these 3 right here.
My problem, and this right here, this driveway, yeah, this technically, this will come on over here and actually touch this, okay? This is not gonna be an easement, and then this right here is gonna look like that. It's gonna be a house here, a house there.
Oh, okay, so I mean, it is different than what?
Yeah, no, that's why we originally talked about it, cause I couldn't get a driveway if I'd done it like this. So it has to be, this one's the only one that was like that, it's supposed to be like that.
No, we drew, the drive is down the side. We come, you got a lot here and a lot here and then a lot here with a little bit to add to this, and this was the driveway down the side.
Well, it could be either
Yeah.
way, the way that makes the most sense is to do it like this. That gives you a lot more area back here for your septic system and stuff, and the field area back here.
And the reason water stands there is because it's a flat field, there's gonna be some grading done and this and that.
So parcel, or lot 3 is gonna come off
Yeah,
this
it's gonna,
private
it's gonna
drive?
come over here and touch.
Okay,
So actually,
So there will be
technically,
four.
it'd be 4 off of that one, yes, I'm sorry. I was wrong, I wasn't looking at it.
And you're needing to go over here and borrow a piece of that one on this parent parcel to make this 2 acres.
Correct. Currently, there's only enough land here to do 2 lots if we didn't borrow any from here. But there's enough land here to get this house, this is just a little bitty farmhouse. I'm trying to get the highest and best use here. They put this on a smaller lot for that, is what I'm trying to get at. And then fill out the highest and best use back here, because some of these other parcels adjoin are RR. So, I mean, that's the whole reasoning behind requesting for that. But I think the best for here would be side by side, okay, in front, is what I think, on the driveways versus this.
Doesn't that work?
You guys got an understanding?
Yeah.
Because
Show Cynthia.
when I went out there, it was like, where are you gonna put these driveways? Okay.
1, 2, that one right here is a driveway. Actually, this is not 2 driveways.
Okay.
It's got blue.
This is where that new house, I mean, that old house.
Correct.
And there's a drive. Okay, this is that other guy's house, right? So are they're gonna be easy?
No, this would not be legal, this would be a dedicated driveway for those 4 houses, they would each own individual ownership in it on the right.
So you're gonna have to take land from here.
No, no land, it's gonna actually be surveyed out as a private driveway, or well, actually, I'm sorry, we surveyed out as a private driveway, just like it is on Whitson Road. If you ever pull up Whitson Road, you'll see what I'm talking about. And they each of the houses own an individual interest in the driveway, and there's a road maintenance agreement that they would want to put the driveway up.
Okay, so they're gonna drive this on here.
Correct.
And this is gonna have this his own drive.
Correct.
Now, this drive goes here.
Now, it's visually side to side. One goes down, one goes down.
Wait, well, this, I thought.
Would that go on look like?
It's just parcels.
Would that look like where it's got laid out from the house?
Side of my house, and then a wood point back
Yeah, so this is lot 1.
Oh, so the drive goes here.
For the whole thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is
So her line is, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
In that way, it's a one room, they come up here and we show them all the way out. It'd be large.
So that's what I'm saying, aren't you taking land from those, so to make it less than half?
No, there's enough there to make it R2 acres plus or
Oh,
minus.
okay.
Yes.
Question for you. I'm sorry.
thank you, sir.
Is there,
I'll hunt you down over that one.
as far as, school bus traffic, do school buses come up that private drive, or they stop us on Marquette Bridge Road?
That would really be the choice, I guess, of the school or what needs to be
School
done
buses
there.
will not go private.
I was about to say, they probably park right at the end of it.
School buses will not go, so how far is the last house from the road?
I have to measure it off and see, not
Just approximately.
200 yards maybe?
Do what?
200 yards, 600 feet.
Your last house would be 600 feet
Please
from the road.
please don't talk to each other.
No, we just trying to figure.
I mean, I'm just guesstimating here, but I don't have an exact measurement, but I would think, being that it's cause it's all, be all the way in the very back side.
You measured it,
Yeah, I did it on the side, from Wildcat Bridge to lot 4 back there is 881 feet.
I knew it was over 600 feet.
881 feet. Okay. Now, to answer her question, how many drives are coming into?
So there would only be
Wildcat?
3 new driveways, is all there would be onto Wildcat Ridge Road. Because you got the private
So
drive.
everything else coming off, 4 of them will be coming off the private drive?
Yes.
Four
On the back,
families,
private drive.
or 4 houses coming off the private
The
drive?
old house already has a driveway,
Right.
so there's not a new driveway there. And then the other 2 houses out at the field up there.
So actually it'll be 4 driveways coming into,
3 new driveways, 4 driveways total.
4 driveways,
Correct.
but there's more houses coming off of them.
Yeah, the other driveways will go into the private drive.
Right,
So those ones that are coming off the street, will they have a turnaround? They won't have to come directly back up off that road, I mean, onto that road, will they?
Alright, say that one more time, talking about private drive.
No, she's talking about the other,
The 2, 1 and 2, you said will come directly off of.
Yeah, they'll come straight into their house, have a concrete turnaround and go back out.
Okay, so
to
they
the
will
road.
have turn.
Yeah, they'll have their yard and everything.
Yeah, we
All right.
can put that in.
any other questions from the board?
And granted, if it makes everybody feel better too, once you do all your perk tests and stuff, you may lose a lot once it's finalized and the state looks it over. So there may not be 6 houses that go there. But once it's rezoned, then you can go in there and really get down and dirty with the engineering and stuff on it. But there may not be 6 houses just because it's rezoned for that.
Yes, that's your desire right now.
That's the desire,
Right.
that don't mean the state's gonna allow that once you get the final purchase.
No purpose,
Understand.
man.
Correct. Not on that one lot over there, there was, I think they done one years ago on the backside, but I didn't even get into that, I'll do all fresh stuff. This is just the request now, like I said, that don't mean that's how many houses can go there once I get that finished up. So,
It's not a subdivision, he doesn't have to come back to us for grading,
No,
okay?
it's not so good.
Yep, okay.
Any other questions? Satisfied?
I got a simple question.
Okay. Sir, I'm gonna allow you this one last time, but it's back in the board's hand now, and it's our discussion, but one last time.
All right, well, it's gonna affect him much as it will me, the reason I'm wanting to ask it. On that one, lot number 1, so you gotta drill a well and put a septic tank in, how do you know where you're gonna be able to put your septic tank when you ain't even come to even ask me where my stuff's even located? Because number 1, my drain field is very close to that property line, and you gotta be 100 foot away to drill a well from your drain field in the state of Georgia.
correct. Yeah, I'm drilling wells over there on Wesley Chapel Road, very familiar with all that. I promise, I thought this through, I'm not trying to offend anybody, I love farmland just as much as everybody else does. All I'm doing is trying to utilize some property that I got. But I will meet all setbacks, all requirements of the state, I promise you that, if this goes through.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't have a question, I just, either now or in discussion, I would
We'll
make a comment.
Okay, we'll come in and discuss, okay? Thank you, sir.
I'm good.
All right, we've heard a lot of discussion on this rezone request, so I'm gonna bring it back to the board for more discussion and a motion to recommend to the commissioners a denial or acceptance. On you.
No discussion now?
Yes, sir.
I look at this is 2 parent parcels. One's being divided into 4 lots, one's being divided into 3 lots. The 3rd lot back on this side, you're having to reach over to borrow some property from the parent parcel on the other side. On this side, you've got a road going in, and then you're going to reach this 3rd parcel through this road, through this parent parcel. You're interlocking these 2 parent parcels to some degree, and I get a feeling of a subdivision of that, without needing subdivision. Anything over 4 lots is considered a major subdivision. So you've got potentially seven homes here, that give you the feel of subdivision. And if you were dealing with these independently of each other, it might be considered a little different. But you're reaching over borrowing property, you're accessing through the same drive. I can't support it with that.
So you don't like lot
With that.
3 in the back?
I don't like dipping into each parent parcel with the road.
Okay.
Okay, the road you're getting to lot 3 over here through the road on this side.
All right. I'm open to any recommendations if y'all want
Well,
to.
I'm not here to give you recommendations, I'm just saying based on what you proposed here, I can't support it personally.
Okay.
That's just me.
Is there a reason why, well, I keep saying it to me, is there a reason why you didn't want to come as a subdivision?
I was just trying to obviously keep it as simple as possible because I was trying to meet the minimum requirements, you know, for subdivides on a RR parcel, and that's what I was shooting for. The only reason I even went for that back lot is just to utilize the land. If we wanna take that out and it don't work and nobody's happy with that, I don't mind losing that if that makes or breaks a deal. But I just was trying to utilize the best, highest and best use for the land. I look at that in every situation that I go into, so.
You mean that third lot?
That third lot, I mean, if that's an issue or whatnot, I mean, I'm open for any discussion or any changes or whatnot. I just was trying to make the best out of everything that was there.
One of the things that we struggle with as a board is it takes 4 lots to make a subdivision. I mean, 5, okay. But when it gets close, and there's some different circumstances that kind of circumvent around, because it's a lot more difficult to get a subdivision than it is another parcel of land. I mean, that's just, whether people like it or not, it's more difficult. And I can understand why people do things to kind of circumvent it. But when it comes to us up here, that's a real difficult thing for us to make that decision as to yes or no. And it's even more difficult, if you think it's difficult here, it's even more difficult when you come back on January 3rd and sit before the commissioners, because they will ask some questions that we may not have asked, because they will have watched what we went through. So, but I just said that to let you know that, you know, that's why we struggle so hard to get these things correct. You know, and then we have to take into consideration what the neighbors say, what people say. You got to take into consideration those that want to see it and those that don't. So, but nevertheless, that's our job. So we're gonna make a decision at this point. Any other comments from the board? If not, I will open the floor for a motion to approve or deny.
I'll make a motion that we deny.
We have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
And I will second.
We have a second. A motion to deny and a second. Are we ready to vote? I am a yes.
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 And, I wanna say, I understand.
Vote first.
Okay. Well, I have to vote yes, because I know you bought this property to provide housing, but as we're struggling, he said, we're struggling with that, the way you're planning it out, and the housing, it puts it on the border of the side.
Okay. All right, the motion is to deny. Again, we are a recommending board. Please come on January 3rd before the Board of Commissioners for the second public hearing. And that means all of you. Because they need to hear what you have told us, and you need to explain your end of it. But at this point, we will recommend to the Board of Commissioners for a denial, for a 4-0 denial. I believe that's all our public hearings for tonight, but we do have another order of business. So thank you folks for coming.
Let's ride to the house, get some supper. How you doing, Mr. Wayne?
I'm pretty good.
Good to see you, sir. Shoot, I ain't complaining. I ain't complaining. You too, tell your wife I said hello.
I'll do that. Sure.
Miss
Let
C.
me know what you got for us.
Okay, just trying to get some loose ends cleared up, before Tracy takes over. This is to codify the zoning ordinance and the stormwater ordinance. That's the only two ordinances we've had changes to since,
Betty is doing good.
19,
Doing well, yes, sir.
no,
He's healthy as a whole.
what did we do, 2013, I think. What's on the front of your book? 2019, I'm sorry. But this is, what this will do is, all the ordinances that we've adopted since then, they are in the right place. There'll be no more hunting. They will be all right there, all neat and everything. And the reason I didn't go ahead and do copies for everyone is because I have pages that Todd will have to sign, and Christina and Mike Pruitt, the county attorney. So I have this on the agenda for the Board of Commissioners, and this will give me time to get new books printed and get them to y'all before I'm out of here. So you see what you're looking, well, mine is much thicker than Williams, but Williams is that thick. Now it's that thick. Yeah, so, yeah, so, yeah, so I just need y'all to vote on the codification.
I make a motion that we approve the codification.
I'll second.
Moving properly second, that we approve. Ready for question? All in favor, let's vote. I mean, yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
approved.
Thank y'all. And I think I've gotten y'all the information for the next month